Hi, I'm Paula from Hecate's Crossing. I don't even know if I've actually said my name in any of the videos. I usually just say good morning from Hecate's Crossing. My first name's Paula, by the way, for those that don't know me. And what I wanted to do was to do a sort of a challenge that was fun. I want to reconnect with one of my decks that I used. I got like over 20 years ago. And because of circumstances in the last couple of years, I actually haven't had it physically on me. So I finally repurchased this deck. And so I wanted to really reconnect with the energy. So I decided to do what's called the Fool's Journey Challenge. So you can do this with any chosen deck. With any tarot, oracle, Lenormand, runes, do this with Billeen, Kipper, or Sibylla, anything that you have started to use that you want to expand your divination practice. So what I want to do is just one day a week for a few minutes work with this particular deck or this particular tool. Just for a few minutes every week. I don't want it to be, I don't want it to be stressful or make it a chore or anything like that. This is just for you to expand your divination practice in some way. So you really want to do it in between busy lifestyles, make it really flexible. I really want to do just sort of once a week over the next 10 weeks, basically, just to sort of start with. And see where whether you want to take it further, that's up to you. But basically 10. So what I want to do is for introduction, or for the first video, is choose one deck and write or speak about your impressions of the deck as you look through the imagery. What do you feel this deck speaks about? How does this deck make you feel? Describe the thoughts about how you find this deck in a reading. What type of questions does it answer best? What type of questions does it seem to refuse to answer? How do you use this deck either for self or querents? And how does it shuffle? Now, when I originally had this deck, I had the Native American Tarot, and I had all the book, and which I'm still waiting to get, because I had the actual book set originally, and it was papery. It was sort of a papery cardboard deck, and I had it for a number of. I mean, I had it like 15 years or so, 15 years approximately, and it was. Yeah, it got a bit grubby, got a bit dirty, because I was using it for expos and fairs and using it all the time. It was basically my full-time deck. And because I haven't used it for the last 2 years, and I reordered it, and it's come from US Games, and they've, of course, changed it to a more, I don't know if you can hear it, more of a sort of a plasticky deck. And, so I think I'm going to have to reconnect with the imagery again. I mean, each image speaks so much, but it's also about, for me, understanding the teachings of the deck. I think that's really important for me. It's about understanding the reason why the artist and the author have chosen the imagery and why they chose, for the deck. So for me, when I pick up this deck, I love it. From the moment I picked it up, the very first moment, and began to read with it, I absolutely love this deck. The stories and just told me so much. Just when I look at an image, I mean, it really does tell a story about what this is about. This is 8 of Vessels, and it's called indolence. Indolence. I don't know how you say that in English. Indolence. So 8 of Vessels. So for me, that's about feeling that lethargic, that feeling a bit sorry for yourself and maybe needing to walk away from the situation, but you can sort of see that you're stuck in that moment, you know, getting a little bit, there's the alcohol at the bottom, you know, and that can be for anybody, but there's a real story which I want to sort of get into as we go through this deck, as we go through the videos. So for me, I believe this deck speaks about traditions, teachings, lessons learned, the facts of sometimes things are outside of our control. I find this deck really, for me, when I look at it, it really talks about the elders and the stories and the teachings that they can share with us as we're, you know, the youth, so to speak. As I was a youth in that time, you know, I was very young at that time when I sort of got the deck. Well, not that young, but young enough. And I really felt that this deck really, I love it. It just gives me a real connection to the past. I feel very, in some ways, quite nostalgic about it. And I know people look at me and think, well, why do you feel nostalgic about a Native American tarot deck? Past life connection. I don't know what your belief is in regards to past lives, but I feel very, very connected in respect to the Native American teachings. And I've always loved the stories and the ceremonies and the music and just everything about their journey. And even though there were trials and tribulations and there were struggles and with what happened at different times, as a different culture tried to impose their own teachings, and how many of them have managed to keep their own teachings and pass them on to the youth. So I think this deck really gives me that nostalgic reflection. That's just personal to me. I find that when I was doing readings for people, the readings were very clear. They gave clarity with the readings. I felt clients responded very well to the imagery. I didn't have a lot of issue in regards to maybe some of the more gory or some of the more challenging imagery. I actually felt people responded very well. Questions, quite deep questions, I think. Doesn't seem to like anything that's too surface. Not very shallow. It's not a very shallow deck. I found when reading for clients that the client would try and keep it quite shallow, quite fun, but I actually found these readings became really deep and affected the clients in lots of ways in regard to that. I do use the reading for myself, the self-reflection, but I also use the deck for reading for others. Shuffling, I shuffled with the old deck really, really well. There was no problems with it. This seems to be shuffling quite well as well in regards to overhand like that. I don't ripple shuffle my cards anyway. I've sort of practiced a little bit, but I actually don't like it because I'm always worried about breaking or damaging my decks. I like to keep things, you know, my tools are very, I just don't want to have to keep replacing them. Just don't have the finances for that with bills and things. But anyway, that's basically it for me. I love this deck. I love the imagery of it. Let me just go through and show you some of the cards if you haven't already seen the Native American Tarot. So you can sort of see it's got the word at the bottom and you can expand from there. But what I like to do is actually go through and actually, whether I research on the internet, The little white book's great, but oh my god, the writing is so tiny. So I actually use a magnifying glass for me. I'm waiting for the book to actually arrive, and once the book arrives, I think it will be heaps better for me. So I'll just show you a few, because you'll see more as we go through the challenge. You'll see more of the cards anyway in a little while, so I don't want to show you everything now. Okay, so just get you an idea. I've got my character, my full out ready for the next video to do at some stage. I'm not going to do it now, but I'm going to reflect. So there you go. So just to show you some of the cards. And what I do is I look in the book and I want to find out a bit more about the history, the teachings, the way of the Native American way. So I really wanted to explore this again and really get quite deep with this deck. So something a bit different than a lot of the other decks. I've looked at other Native American tarot decks and I keep coming back to this one. I have worked with Crow's Magic, I've worked with Vision Quest, and I've worked with Medicine Woman, and yet I still, even after 20 years, still keep coming back to this deck. There's the Judgment. So this is the deck that I will be working through with the Fool's Journey Challenge. So if you want to take part, I'll leave you the link below to my blog page, which will describe exactly. But basically, for this one, take out a deck. Think about your impressions of the deck as you look through the imagery. What do you feel this deck speaks about? How does this deck make you feel? Describe the thoughts about how you find this deck in a reading. What type of questions does it answer best? What type of questions does it seem to refuse to answer? How do you use this deck, either for self or Querants? And how does it shuffle? So that's video 1. Next week, we will look at video 2. Take care and blessed be.